For sure. So we're gonna move on to our second topic for the day, which is who is the biggest steal in this class? We haven't heard from Cole. So Cole, do you want to jump in first with who
Sure.
you think the biggest steal is?
Yeah, I love Ethan Calvert, linebacker, out of California, 6'3", 225 pounds of just pure strength and speed. He punishes ball carriers, makes a lot of solo tackles, and I love his ability to read the offensive play call. Watching a lot of his film, he's able to clog those holes, and he puts himself in a position to make a lot of big plays. And I think he's joining a defensive scheme that's perfect for his development, and he's going to become elite. The next one that I really like is Isaac Vaha. Also gets me just really excited because he is a 6'7" Goliath who can go up and get any ball you throw at him. He's a tight end. Great hands for a big man. Absolutely runs people over. And Sammy, if anybody's going to replace Keithy, I'm glad it's going to be him. And we know as well, Coach Witt likes to take players and change their roles and positions if he feels that they might be better somewhere else. So this is a big kid with a lot of potential on both sides of the ball if Witt feels the need to throw him somewhere else.
Yeah, for sure. I love Calvert and I love Vaha too, but I really love Ricky Parks. I'm a sucker for a good running back. I love a running back. I see Steve's nodding over there, but I am so excited for Ricky. Like I've been seeing some of his the numbers he's put up in his high school season this year. I'm so excited to get him up here on campus. Like that's great. So Steve, who do you think's the biggest steal?
Man, the biggest steal. I mean, I love the guys that you've already mentioned. Obviously, Calvert. And in terms of steal, to steal him away from USC, UCLA, and Washington, where there are clear family connections, and obviously there's a connection with Utah. His dad played at Utah back in the day. But to steal him out of Southern California, if that's the way that you want to go by the term steal, yeah, that's probably the biggest steal of the class. But honestly, I love two guys in particular. I look at Trey Reynolds and Veltre Jefferson as two steals. I love Trey Reynolds' game. I love the way that he competes. Love the way that he plays. He's an intense player. He's a competitor. He's going to give you everything he's got in every single play. He's going to come in early, and I think he's a guy where he may not have the ceiling of an Ethan Calvert, but he's going to come in with a very similar floor, and he can potentially earn a spot and contribute early on in his career. Just a load of a linebacker. He's prototypical MAC backer where he can get downhill, he can go sideline to sideline. I love his game. And then Veltre Jefferson is a very, very unique. He's got an older brother that played at USC as a wide receiver. He played wide receiver growing up. Big guy, 6'4", 230 pounds. He could, if you want to talk about a guy that could potentially move around, that's Veltre Jefferson. He's coming in as kind of that outside linebacker, defensive end, similarly to like a Nate Orchard and Trevor Riley and that kind of player. And he could very easily move over to the offense side of the ball and play tight end. Like he committed to USC as a sophomore as a wide receiver, which kind of speaks to his talent level. But he's coming to Utah on the defense side of the ball. And I'm really, really interested to see what he can do, at Utah with the player development, the track record that they have, and just exactly where he ends up on the roster. It'll be fun to see that. But those are the two guys I like. I love Ricky Parks. Love the way he plays the game. Obviously, you love Ethan Calvert. He's going to come in. He's an instant impact type guy. And really love a lot of these guys in this class. Utah did a great job for sure.
Steve, is there a dark horse on this list? Somebody that really isn't turning a lot of heads, but you think has a lot of potential, especially to come in and to fit right into Witt's scheme and to run with it?
Yeah, no, I mentioned this, at Youth Zone just the other day. Koli Fa'aiu is an offensive lineman coming from Washington. very. This is. I said he's probably the most underappreciated commit in the class this cycle, and very similar to John Pennicini in that 2017 class, where you had guys like Jalen Johnson and Marquise Blair and Corian Ballard who had all the headlines, but John Pennicini, he came in and he was super effective at Utah because he fit the program's culture, their identity, and what they do on the defense side of the ball so well. That he was an All Pac-12 defender. He was a draft pick, and it's just because of he was that dark horse type where he just fit the program so well. And I look at Koli Fa'aiu as that kind of player as well. Just a big dude at 6'4". He's already 310 pounds. And this kid is just a workout monster. He's a machine in the weight room. He's posted a bunch of videos of his workouts, and they're intense. Like, he's moving weight, and it translates onto the field. That's always kind of not a concern, but you always want to see guys that are strong in the weight room be strong on the field, and you see that with Koli. And good athlete. He's not a stiff. He's not just a big plotter, but he's a good athlete. He can move, he can pull, he's flexible, and really, really like his fit with this downhill running game that Utah is utilizing under Andy Ludwig. And I think he's an ideal fit for that type of offense, and think that, when we look back on this class 3-4 years from now, that we'll be looking at Koli the same way that we look at John Pennicini in that 2017 class. So, I love it. I think so. I think Koli is probably the biggest dark horse in this class.
I have a quick question. So we're seeing a lot of these, we have Koli's from Washington, and then Cole Bishop's from Georgia, and those are areas that we're usually not known for getting kids out of. Is that different approach to the recruiting? Is that Ludwig's impact? What is it that's letting us get these kids in these states that we haven't gotten to before?
No, I mean, the biggest thing is that this comes from Utah's success over the last 2 seasons, that they've been on the national scene more, that it's exposed players from across the country more to Utah football. And yeah, going into Georgia, it's very rare that Utah goes into Georgia and pulls a player from the state. They have in the past, but it's not something that they traditionally do. They typically pull 2-3 kids from the state of Washington every couple of years. And so, but again, that's not an area that they traditionally recruit from, like it is a California and Texas. But when you have success at the level that Utah has over the last 2 years, and you remain competitive, obviously this year has just been kind of crazy, and I think everybody understands that. But when you have 2 back-to-back seasons where you're in the Pac-12 championship game, you're in the playoff conversation late in the season, and have a legitimate shot at the playoff, kids are going to notice, and kids from areas that you typically don't recruit are going to notice, and that's going to allow you to you can earn more across the country if you elect to do that. Obviously, you want to maintain your primary recruiting routes, but if a kid from Georgia is showing you a lot of interest, and he's equally as good in your evaluations as kids in Texas and California and Utah, why not? Why not go for him? And so this is all just part of being a bigger brand, being on a higher tier of the Pac-12, and having success as a program. This is kind of the result on the recruiting trail. This is just Utah being more successful as a program.
For sure. I totally think that's what it is too, because when you're in the talks for the playoffs, see it. It's it doesn't matter that you're playing your games at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. People are still going to take notice of that.